9-1. And then Matthew Tickal, really been the talk of this tournament with his 5-color rally deck. He is also 9-1. You can tell these two are pretty good friends as we are underway here in round number 11. The Sandsep Citadel is where Tickal does start. Hoogland's at 21 thanks to his Tranquil Cove. And Mystic Monastery for Tickal. If you guys have not seen Tickal's deck tech and this deck in action, Deshay, you are probably in for something fun, especially in this matchup, because Jeff doesn't have a ton of recourse against what Matthew's doing.
Well, this is one piece of the puzzle in a weird way. Jeff does have some counter spells, and that's helpful against Rally the Ancestors, although Matthew has ways to loop the card, and just one counter spell is enough to break it up. The other thing that he can do is try to get some intimidating blockers back on defense, because the combo involves Nantuko Husk and Mogus Marauder. So artifact creatures can be valuable here, like Hangerback Walker.
They play. It's a Satyr Wayfinder, maybe the best card in Tickal's deck. He'll turn over 4 cards. Opulent Palace is a land that he's found.
Love the lands in play on Tickal's side of the table right now.
Well, you know, a little of this, a little of that. Big fan. Look, if people aren't killing you fast, you get to do stuff like this.
And Jeff typically does not kill you very fast.
Doesn't kill anyone fast. So he's going to scry with the Temple of Enlightenment. He'll pass the turn back. Hangerback Walker looks like it's going to get a little bit bigger. We'll see.
But I'm interested to watch this matchup because Jeff's deck does present some unique problems for Matthew. Matthew's deck, when the opponent isn't producing black or artifact blockers, the combo is very resilient, very hard to interact with. But Jeff can actually make a sea of Thopter tokens with things like Thopter Spy Network and Hangerback Walker in certain spots. So I'm curious to see how Matthew plays through this sort of interaction, because I'm sure it's not one he anticipated seeing much of in the tournament.
Well, he's going to start by casting Gather the Pack. So I'll take a look at the top 5 cards. And looks like Jace will be selected here. Again, we'll gather the pack, you reveal the top 5 cards. You can put a creature card in there. And if you have Spellmaster, you get 2. Now he's going to cast Jace. Is this going to run into a Clash of Wills is the question. Looks like the answer is no. So Jeff will grow his Hangerback Walker and simply pass. We'll Tickal back over to Hoogland. Now Jeff wants to read Jace. He wants to see the back half, the Telepath Unbound. It is powerful. We just saw it last round.
Put on a clinic last round against Brad Nelson.
I know it's not Jace the Mind Sculptor, but again, what is?
And also 2 mana is less than 4.
That's just
math.
simple math.
That's just math.
That's just math.
I'm not even good at math, and I can tell you that.
Jeff's going to play Thopter Spy Network. He's going to tap out to cast that. He's going to get in here for some damage, too, because he wants to draw a card. I don't think Jeff can die this turn, but stranger things have happened. Matthew's blocking.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think Matthew wants that card in the graveyard regardless, and Jeff drawing a card is something that Matthew doesn't want to have happen, so this is a good time as any to chump block.
Sure. Does have double white. Mystic Monastery and Sandsep Citadel. And I believe he does have a copy of Rally the Ancestors in hand. That white card sticks out like a sore thumb in his hand. Tickal will draw. Jace is going to be activated. That means he'll be flipping soon. Time to discard a card. We'll see which one he wants to discard. Does have Nantuko Husk in hand. Also has a copy of Mogus and Marauder down there. Going to discard Mogus' Marauder. Jace is going to flip now. See what's next here for Mr. Tickal.
He has a couple options here. He can, for starters, simply cast one of the creatures in his hand. His other option here is to flashback Gather the Pack and try to get a little more velocity in his graveyard.
Looks like he's going to start by just casting Nantuko Husk. Play a Frontier Bivouac. Oh, all those tri-lands. Jace's going to tick up, target Hangerback Walker, so it'll get -2/-0.
So what are we missing now? Nomad Outpost, that's the last one?
Yeah, it's the last one. Yeah. A cursory check does not have that. I'm disappointed. 1 Frontier Bivouac, 1 Mystic Monastery, 2 Sandsep Citadels, 3 Opulent Palace. Jeff does get a Thopter from the Spy Network, given that he does control an artifact and Hangerback Walker. Tranquil Cove is here to gain Jeff a life. And now Mana Confluence is the draw.
So Jeff doing a pretty good job of defending himself right now. A lot of artifact creatures back on defense and threatening counterspells. And Matthew's deck is pure engine. So his plan to beat counterspells is to just overwhelm by casting rally after rally.
Which I think is a pretty good plan, given that he does have, adjacent play, which can help flash back, and, he's got access to a lot of rallies, it seems.
The issue, and we've seen it come up a couple times here, is Matthew's deck is only so large. And getting back these Satyr Wayfinders, it does have a habit of running out his deck. So he can only rally so many times because every time he rallies, he's losing parts of his deck when the Wayfinders come back.
Well, he's going to rally right now. Going to return a couple of creatures here. Some Satyr Wayfinders, a Grim Horospex, Mogus Marauder. That's all 4 Satyr Wayfinders. That's going to mill 16 cards. Boy.
Remember, even though Rally of the Ancestors exiles itself when you cast it, that's not the case when you mill it over.
Correct.
And so this makes Jace even more potent.
Well, there's some rallies in the graveyard. You see, as Matthew does resolve all 4 of these Satyr Wayfinder activations, he'll add 3 lands to his hand.
But this is the problem that Matthew may get himself into, is there's only so many times he can do this.
Yeah.
Now, an out that he has is just allowing Rally the Ancestors to trigger on his upkeep and exiling the Satyr Wayfinders.
Yeah,
that prevents them from coming back.
I think he resolved a 5th Satyr Wayfinder on accident.
I think the confusion might have been because he missed on one of the triggers.
Sure.
And so he was just counting to when I have 4 lands,
Yep.
rather than have I triggered 4 times.
I think he might just have to shuffle those back in. So.
Yeah. He hasn't scribed, so or anything about the contents of the deck are known. So.
Yep. So an easy shuffle back in and a problem solved. Oh, Hanging Rack Walker's feeling it. Into the red zone it comes.
I think Matt probably has something over there you can block with.
Maybe. A couple options here, perhaps. It actually looks like Jeff is going to grow the Hanging Rack Walker. I apologize. He was resolving Artificer's Epiphany. He grew it. Now he gets another Thopter from Thopter Spy Network. Now we might see him attack. Oh, Radiant Fountain strategy. Matthew can do a lot more than 23.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Jeff's deck, I believe, is cutting it a little bit close in terms of total artifact count for Thopter Spy Network.
I would say so. 7, I believe.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of copies of Thopter Spy Network in his deck, only 2. Looks like Tickle's going to sacrifice some things to Nantuko Husk here. He gets to draw some cards with Grim Horospex.
This allows him to draw cards. It also allows him to avoid Rally Ancestors exiling critical pieces of the puzzle. Now, you see him counting his deck right now. That's because he needs to figure out whether or not he can afford to get these Satyr Wayfinders back, or if he needs to exile them. And given the size of his deck, I believe that if he allows these Satyr Wayfinders to come back, he's basically committing to having to kill this turn.
Yep, and he's not letting them come back. They're getting exiled to the rally trigger, which is smart. I think he has to do that. So now he'll draw for his turn. Now what you'll note is that Jace has the ability to flash back Rally the Ancestors, or you can morph a Den Protector and bring it back that way.
Yep. A lot of ways to get his rallies back, assuming they're milled over.
Yep, and there is a morph. Now, it could be Grim Horospex, but it is likely Den Protector.
And because Jeff is building up this sea of artifact creatures, I believe that Matthew needs to get as many Nantuko Husks available on the attack as he possibly can. Because Jeff right now has the capability of chump blocking the Nantuko Husks. And at that point, Matthew only has so much of a deck to work with.
You did mention that Jeff does provide some unique issues because of the artifact creatures.
Counterspells and a sea of artifact creatures is a very weird combination of cards to have, but it does match up pretty well with what Matthew's doing.
Yeah. Matthew going to plus the Jace. Now he's going to cast Gather the Pack again. He doesn't have to be careful about milling himself out. We'll look at 5 cards. See which one he's going to select. He actually gets 2 because he does have Spell Mastery. So Jace and Liliana, I believe, have been added to the grip. Now he'll play Jace, and he's able to play Creature Jace. It looks like he's not going to play Creature Jace anymore. Maybe just a joke. Maybe just kidding. Here's Dig Through Time. Probably wants to leave the mana up to unmorph Den Protector.
Yep.
Jeff resolving Dig. He's found 2 cards he's happy with of the top 7. Quickly untapping. He'll get a Thopter from the Spy Network. Now I'll draw a card. Seven lands on the battlefield along with 3 Thopters, a Thopter Spy Network, a 3/3 Hangerback Walker. Here for Hoogland. Tickle's board pretty complicated, but he's got a Jace that has 8 counters, a Morph, which is Den Protector, and some lands, and then the splayed out cards are his entire graveyard, which he'd like to bring back to play and kill Jeff in one shot. But if Jeff just sits here and does this for a while and just counters the relevant spells, which is likely just Rally the Ancestors, his life is pretty good.
Although in theory, he does have to worry about Jace going ultimate.
Yeah?
That's a way for the game to get stolen. But Jeff has enough 1/1 tokens hang around that keeping Jace off of ultimate should not be too challenging.
Den Protector's going to unmegamorph. It will return a couple of cards. One is Rally Ancestors. There's also a couple copies of Death Misraptor that are coming back now. Can't forget about that aspect of the deck. Tickle mills so many cards when he plays a deck that he can just kind of throw in some Death Misraptors into the equation. Jeff has a discard here. It looks like he might be discarding Dig Through Time. If he's discarding that card, that means his hand is loaded. And Flooded Strand.
And for now, I really like the path that Jeff is choosing of, not trying to do anything too proactive. The burden is on Matthew to do something soon because he's running out of a deck. And it's not clear that Matthew has the ability to just dissolve from the spot, given Jeff's ability to generate so many artifact blockers.
Here come the Knuckleheads. Now, we did note that when we watched Jeff play a little bit earlier yesterday, his deck was very soft to Den Protector.
His deck, the removal is Last Breath and Valorous Stance. So not good removal for Den Protector. And a lot of his defensive measures are generating 1/1 tokens, whether it be Hangerback Walker, Thopter Spy Network, Elspeth, Sun's Champion, and so on. So as a consequence of this, he doesn't block Den Protector very effectively.
Well, there's some blocking. Hangerback Walker is going to be a 4/4, and then it dies. So now 4 Thopters join the battlefield. Jeff can get pretty aggressive here.
I mean, Matthew's at 16. Looking about a 3-turn clock right now.
Attack for 7, you get to make another Thopter. Put you to 9, put you to 1, then kill you that way. There's a Morph. If Matthew ever uses that Mana Confluence, for example, for colored mana, he can't tap it for black because Urborg's in play, but if he uses it for colored mana, that's a point of damage. That adds up. Might be a tough matchup here for Tickle. Yeah, Death Misraptor should stay on the battlefield because Hangerback Walker had -2/-0 because of Jace.
And that's the reason that Hangerback Walker was also not blocking the Den Protector.
Correct.
I'm curious here, if Matthew's not casting anything, I wonder if he's just trying to go ultimate with Jace and leaving himself with as many cards in hand as possible to trigger it.
It's time for another dig.
As right now, his creatures feel good to me just to be casting, the ones that can attack.
Just trying to play a normal game.
Yeah, it's sort of a damage race right now.
I like having this play a normal game, have Rally of the Ancestors looming type feel to the entire game.
Yeah,
if you can do that.
And I think that's what Matthew's going for here. The problem with trying to lean too heavily on the Jace ultimate is Jeff can simply send one Thopter at Jace. That's not costing him very much.
Yeah.
Jeff already putting our number of Thopter tokens to the test.
Well, so far,
And the set just came out.
someone gets to keep their job so far.
Yeah,
That's
this is
important.
good.
Someone has stocked the appropriate number of Thopter tokens, so still employed. But if he goes a reaching
Yeah,
and there isn't one there,
done.
we'll have a job posting.
Done.
Yep.
Always looking for more associate token generators over here at StarCgames.com.
Here come the beatdowns. Yeah, I had a feeling Jeff might go the job because we've seen him a lot, kind of hit for one. Because with Thopter Spy Network, you don't get to draw a ton of cards like Biden of Thassa. You just get to draw one. It says one more artifact deals damage, you draw a card. But he's turning up the heat. Also a little chip shot to Jace there.
Yeah. I think I would have preferred sending a second Thopter at Jace because it doesn't change the clock. And if Matthew happens to have a random removal spell in that spot for the first Thopter, Jeff's almost forced to counter it because Jace going ultimate's a dangerous thing in this spot. But maybe he knows Matthew's deck list. Maybe he checked out the deck tech.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a talk of the tournament. Yeah. Maybe he's just said, you know what, I finished my match early, I want to watch you play. Because Matthew's been going really late in the rounds, too.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been at a tournament, stories circle fast on the tournament floor if someone's up to something crazy. Here's Hangerback Walker again. This time for 2.
Although now Jeff is down to just Dissolve as his shields.
Yeah. Perhaps a little risky.
And Matthew's been sitting on quite a few cards for a while here. He may have the tools to push through one Dissolve.
Got quite a few lands in play, too. Tickal will draw. Windswept Teeth has one rally in hand. You see the Jace that's been flipped. It's been on the battlefield for some time now. Light total 17-10 in favor of Hoogland.
Because let's say Jeff feels like he has to Dissolve the first play here. He's only got 2 blockers back. It appears that Matthew is not going for any sort of kill this turn. It was just keeping up the appearances with the attack.
Yeah. I wonder if this deck, if there's a card that exists, that there's a way to kill your opponent through, like not attacking.
Yeah, is there some sort of, I'm trying to think of the type of card here. But Disciple of the Vault, but for creature style.
Yeah, I'm thinking,
Blood Artist.
Yeah, that works.
Is there some sort of card like that? Yeah.
That's the one. I kept thinking of Maggot Carrier from Allurn, but that's not it.
Yeah, it's the same, that concept. Is there something out there that allows you to kill outside of combat? Because it hasn't been a problem for Matthew in the matches that we've watched, even when he's played against black creatures. And obviously it hasn't been a big problem for him over the course of the tournament. He's 9-1 right now. But in this matchup against Jeff, it looks problematic. Jeff can generate a lot of artifact blockers.
Here's Liliana. You saw Jeff block with Hangerback Walker. Swift Reckoning is an instant. We'll take care of Den Protecta. Follow up. Is Nantuko Husk. Back and flip Liliana. If that's necessary. So much going on with Tickal's deck. All right, Thopter made. Jeff gonna untap all his Thopters. He'll play a Flooded Strand. See how much he wants to attack with here. Jeff wants to take a look at the backside of Liliana. Make sure he knows exactly what it does, the Planeswalker form. Understandable. These new cards are a little complicated. Now it's time to red zone in. Again, Jeff trying to figure out exactly how much he can attack for because he can't get it all done this turn. Now he's doing a deck count. Interesting.
Well, again, the Jace Ultimate is a concern as well.
Yeah?
Does he have to send one of the Thopters to Jace, or can he ignore that? A lot of ins, a lot of outs.
Yep.
A lot of what have yous.
Classic what have yous. One is going to go at Chase.
And I like this attack from Jeff. It sets him up for a lethal attack next turn and leaves him with 5 blockers back on defense, which should be enough to prevent any sort of Intimidate Mogus Marauder kill from coming across.
Should be. He's got all his mana up too. Tickal gonna untap. Take a draw. Rally the Ancestors in hand. He's going to target one with Jace. Able to tap that Windswept Teeth for black mana because of Urborg. See if Rally resolves. Yeah, Jeff is going to counter that. And Tickal does have enough mana to cast another one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he was trying to set up for. Build up enough of a board where, you know, maybe you can win through normal attacks and get to 10 mana and try to rally twice.
You see Jeff with another Dissolve at the ready. Don't think he's going to allow himself to get punked out like that. How about this? How about no? Absolutely not. Tickal will do some attacking here. It appears. I think Jeff will do some blocking in just a moment to make sure that he doesn't die.
Yeah, just has to block the Husk.
Yeah, I guess it's the easiest block. If I'm Jeff in this situation, I play it safe. I just block everything.
You can block safer than that
Yeah.
if you want to, but to survive this attack, all he has to do is put something in front of the Husk. And it looks like he's just chumping everything.
Yep.
Also fine, he's got more than enough to kill on the way back.
Yeah, now it's the big trick now, as we're watching this game unfold, and Tickal's inability to, 1, resolve Rally, and 2, just not able to get through damage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, is there a way to get the job done that's not in combat? I don't know if there's a Blood Artist card.
I would have to be scouring through the file.
Oh, it's time for a Gatherer search.
Yeah, but it is now. Like we said, Matthew against decks with black blockers, even we see, for example, he's beaten SCGCHI Brew Tyrant over the course of the tournament, which seems on the surface to be a problematic card. But Matthew, if he's left uncontested with his graveyard, can get 4 Nantuko Husk into play, and it's very hard to have 4 black blockers back on defense, even if you have something like CDC. And any of the Husks are lethal. Jeff's deck is a unique case because he can make like 10 blockers that can block Intimidate creatures back on defense. And that combined with having access to Dissolve is a combination of problems that I'm sure Matthew has not encountered yet in this tournament.
Sideboard time. We will start with Tickal. And he's got 2 Heroes Downfalls, 2 copies of Thoughtseize. Excuse me, 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Call Against Command, 4... What on earth is this? Claris of the Found Order.
Oh, that is a common from Magic Origins.
Okay.
It's a white and a colorless for a 2/2. And when it comes into play, you gain 2 life for each card with that card name. It says that cycle of, like Timberwatch Wolf or whatever that card's called. It's the white one. So I believe that's his answer to beatdown decks, is you just keep recurring those.
Look at your card
They
knowledge.
all trigger and at the same time, and you gain a bunch of life.
Okay, fair enough. There is the Cleric of the
They're also
Forward.
just pretty good to cast against beatdown decks.
Sure, sure. A Stratus Dancer, a Reclamation Sage, a Den Protector, and a Hidden Dragon Slayer. What do you like there?
Big fan of the Reclamation Sage, big fan of the Stratus Dancer, and I could get behind Kolagon's Command as well. And the Thoughtseizes. Just more disruption.
I want Thoughtseize bad.
Yeah.
I would play 800 of them. What do you got for Jeff?
A Disdainful Stroke, 2 copies of Displacement Wave, a Fated Retribution, a Hidden Dragon Slayer, 3 copies of Last Breath, 2 copies of Negate, a Perilous Vault, a Raise the Alarm, 2 Stratus Dancer, 1 Valorous Dance. I like the Stratus Dancer in this matchup. The problem is I don't know how much of this interaction really works against some cards like Perilous Vault, Fated Retribution. Are they just too slow? I suspect they are. I can see bringing in the additional copy of Disdainful Stroke as it is an answer to Rally the Ancestors because it's being cast for 3. But I'm mostly excited by the Stratus Dancers and the Last Breaths in the sideboard. Negate seems reasonable here as well, probably just a better version of Disdainful Stroke.
SCG Game Night is what we'll talk about right now before game number 2. It is the month of July. You can't sign up for this, but there is time to get it at your local store.
Yeah, still time. You head over to starcgames.com/game night to find the game night store closest to you. Stores can run this program however they want to, sanctioned or unsanctioned, any format. Just get players in the store for fun and friendly magic. This is July kit. The August kit coming right down the pipeline, the Monkey. Too late to get signed up for this one, but if you're a store looking to get signed up for game night, you can get the September kit. Head over to starcgames.com/game night or contact your Star City Games organized play representative.
Just taking a bath.
Just scrubbing himself off, making a mess, as animals typically do.
Including your cat.
No, Levi is very clean.
Except for when he knocks over your stacks of Magic cards.
Yeah, well, that's just him being petulant. That's not him being dirty.
Fair enough.
He's doing it on purpose. It's different.
Scheming.
Plotting.
Looks like both these players are going to keep 7. Game number 2 underway. Mystic Monastery is where Tickal will begin. As will Jeff. A Forest. A Satyr Wayfinder. Turn over the top 4.
It's a power that cats have. If you put together 20 stacks of Magic cards, they know which one has the Scalding Tarns in them and knocks it over.
Here's Hangerback Walker.
I don't know where that instinct comes from.
That's their mundane superpower.
But they clearly have it.
That's an Urborg. Oh, yeah. Get him, Satyr Wayfinder. Show that Hangerback Walker who the boss is. Jeff likely to take 1 here. Tickal with a copy of Kolagon's Command in hand. Okay.
Sweet.
And Rebio. Ooh, I like this.
Yep. We haven't seen Kolagon's Command in action yet, but this seems like a great matchup for it.
Yeah.
Making Jeff discard seems sweet. Shatter, definitely good.
Darksteel Citadel of the land. Yeah, Jeff going, where's that red mana from? Yeah, I have a Mystic Monster in play. Duh.
All 4 of those modes are going to come up against Jeff.
They really will. Here comes Satyr Wayfinder again. Cast 1 of them. That'll resolve. Turn over a couple of cards. Windswept Heath's going to go to the grip. Rest will go to the graveyard. Tickal going to sacrifice Windswept Heath. Go get a basic forest. Now cast Gather the Pack. And I think Spell Mastery. Yep, Spell Mastery is engaged, I believe.
I see a Rally and I see a Kolagon's Command.
Yep. It's an easy card to turn on in this deck, jeez. He gets a Death Miss Raptor. Did mill over 2 Thoughtseizes.
Not necessarily the end of the world, though. Den Protector in the deck.
Very true. There is Artificer's Epiphany. Jeff will get to draw 2 cards. A Temple. See if this card's going to stay on top. Looks like it's headed to the bottom. Here comes the Thopter. And Hangerback Walker. Shields are down here for Jeff, but I don't think there's a lot Matthew can do to take advantage at this point in the game.
Yeah, the graveyard does not look ready for a kill. Very light on creatures right now. Gather the Pack, mostly revealed spells.
Satyr Wayfinders will come in. Hangerback Walker not going to block. There's Death Miss Raptor face up. Tickle's hand pretty land heavy and then has 2 copies of Rally of the Ancestors.
Though keep in mind that Matthew also has the Reclamation Sage in his graveyard right now, which is pretty potent out with the rally, even if nothing else is going on.
Yep. Jeff taps out for Thopter Spire Network so that he can draw a card. There's Jeff Maya Coast. Beatdowns. This is Matthew's best attempt to play a normal game.
Yeah. And Reclamation Sage is going to be a pretty big help, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's a lot to get back, to pay to get back, and unfortunately for him, he has no Nantuko, has to sacrifice, but.
Yeah, he's going to cast Rally. Looks like it's going to be for 2. Yep. So this is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's unclear if he announced for 3 or what exactly he did. If he taps it for, if he taps mana for 2, then it's for 2. Yeah. If he announces it for 3, then the announcement of a spell overrides you tapping your mana for a spell.
Yeah.
But that'll be the question. And you know, truth be told, we have seen Matthew make a decent amount of mistakes like this weekend.
Well, the problem is that the deck's very complicated to play.
Yeah.
And there's a burden for you to also make your decisions quickly because you're worried about accumulating slow play warnings over the course of the tournament, and those get upgraded to game losses and beyond. So at a certain point, you sort of get this feeling in the back of your head of, I've been thinking too long, I've been thinking too long, I've been thinking too long, I just need to do something. And those are the moments where you're likely to rush through.
Yeah.
He knew what he wanted to do, but it took him, 45 seconds, a minute 15 to get to that conclusion. And when your deck is regularly asking you to do that sort of stuff, then you're going to be feeling the pressure of time, you're going to be feeling the pressure of those warnings, and it's going to cause you to rush in spots like that.
And then if you're on Jeff's side of things, it's not the situation where it's, I know what you meant to do because I don't know what you meant to do.
It's an awkward situation because he taps 4 lands, casts Rally, and then puts his 3 mana creatures into play.
Yep.
So, it's not clear what his intent is in that spot.
Sure.
Matthew currently appealing the ruling, and we'll find out what the head judge says in a moment.
Yeah, we will know soon enough. But again, if you guys have not seen Matthew's deck in action this week, and you kind of predicted this from the start, I thought it would be a little bit easier for him, but you felt that the combination of counter spells and then Thopters, being artifact creatures, mess with Intimidate, would actually make this matchup pretty hard for Matthew.
At first, when I first saw the deck list and first saw it in action, I was thinking to myself, all right, what does this deck do about black blockers? Are you just assuming there's no black decks? I can't imagine that's the answer, but, And then I saw him be able to easily get his entire deck into his graveyard, bring back 4 Nantuko Husks. They all have haste. you need to block all of them or kill all of them because they're all lethal. And even if you do that, I can just do the same thing the next turn because I can just rally another time, and eventually you run out.
Sure.
That's different this time because he can easily block. Jeff is, when he has his good draws, can easily block 4 creatures. I mean, you saw in game 1 he had a sea of Thopters, and he also has counter spells. So he can stop some of the rallies just by countering them outright. He can stop some of the alpha strikes because he has enough chump blockers to put everything in front of Nantuka Husks while still applying pressure. And I think that combination of cards is pretty challenging for Matthew. Now, I don't necessarily think that represents a systemic flaw with this rally deck that you have to address, because how many people are playing with Thopter Spy Network and Dissolve? It's not a really long list.
That number is very small.
You know, that I thought that mixture of cards could present a challenge for Matthew in at least game 1. It appeared that was the case, and I don't feel like game 2 is going swimmingly for him either.
No,
right now. And it's not even like Jeff has had Thopter Spy Network active, and it still feels like the game is currently in Jeff's favor.
I know that we've mentioned, are there ways to kill outside of combat? There are cards like Impact Tremors. Perforos is another option. It seems like from all the options so far that they're red cards that you can go to. Now, red is the 5th color in Matthew's deck for sure. We know that. And yeah, I think it has to be a creature that you bring back. So Perforos would work.
Yeah.
But then you have to rally for 4 instead of 3, and you know that's a cost to be paid. The ruling here, by the way, Matthew tried to appeal that he wanted to do it for 3. Well, it was for 2. So that's why Thopter Spy Network's still in the battlefield. Reclamation Sage, all that good stuff did not come back. So we do play on now. Jeff gonna play Swift Reckoning. I'll take care of Death Miss Raptor. Here's Jace. There's a Manic Influence. Now here's Mogus Marauder. That's adorable.
Combo.
Give Jace haste. There are combos upon combos upon combos. Jeff has a Swift Reckoning to stop Jace from going active.
So yes, you can Swift Reckoning in response. Matthew still gets to loot, but you prevent the Planeswalker from showing up.
Correct. Jeff will get another Thopter from the Spy Network. Jeff just chipping away, drawing some cards as he does it.
And this is the recipe we saw last game. You know, he hangs back on defense, he's drawing some cards, finding counter spells, and he has a sea of artifact creatures back to block if Matthew ever makes a big play. The difference this time is that Jeff is a little gummed up on mana. And whenever Matthew makes a play, if Matthew still has 5 mana available, Jeff is going to be loath to counter in a lot of spots because he could be opening up the door for Rally the Ancestors.
Grim Horospex is the morph. That's going to bring back Death Miss Raptor. And because those creatures are going to die, Matthew's going to get to draw some cards here. And it's not a bad exchange. 2 cards coming.
Jeff in a bit of a bind there because his life total is getting to a spot where he kind of has to block. I think he was hoping that it was not Grim Horospex there.
There's Nantuka Husk. And that's going to get dissolved. That one can probably generate a little too much of an advantage.
Oh no, it looks like he's digging instead.
Oh, he's digging, excuse me. There are 2 cards for Jeff. Other 5 will go to the bottom. So Husk is in. Here's a Thopter for Jeff. Here's an Island. Matthew needs is just, it feels like, at least to me, he just needs a discard spell to get an idea of what's in Jeff's hand. Jeff has so many cards, though.
Well, what I like from Matt's spot right now is he's doing just fine in the damage race. And Jeff is forced to leave up mana because if he ever taps too low for something, even if it's a sweeper, Matthew can untap and kill him with Rally. So this spot's pretty solid right now for Matthew. He's just got a board of stuff.
Yep.
And it's hard for Jeff to tap much mana for anything.
He is playing what feels to be a pretty good normalized game right now.
Yeah, he's fine.
There's another Hangerback Walker. This card has impressed me a little bit this weekend. Been a little better than I thought it would be.
You know, what I was really excited for is seeing this potentially in Modern. I know that's been getting a lot of Affinity talk, and I think it's probably a little too slow for that deck, but I could see it showing up, or at least being a sideboard card for some attrition matchups. But it has been pretty impressive in Jeff's deck. Just shows up, hangs back on defense, generates a lot of value, and it's been good.
There's 3 mana. Let's see what Tickle's setting up. Mogus's Marauder, it appears. Okay.
And see, this is another spot where Jeff has to say, okay, that resolves, because Matthew still has 5 mana left over and he's representing Rally.
Yep.
So even if this Mogus Marauder is really bad for him, and look at the life totals, I mean, it's starting to add up.
It is starting to add up.
Jeff can't counter cards like this while Matthew has 5 mana left over.
Matthew playing a pretty solid normalized game here.
Yeah.
With just Rally looming the entire time.
Yep.
Jeff with his 3 mana available. You see Hangerback Walker. Gonna do some blocking here. Kolagon's command with the trigger, with the activation on the stack. Again, Matthew does have out a copy of Urborg. So he was able to pay for Kolagon's command in some unique ways. See what he wants to return back. And what other mode he wants to use, because clearly he's using Destroyed Artifact. And now, Stratus Dancer. All right, that's going to get negated. Now that'll get a counter.
Very good time to have negate.
Yes, I would agree.
Because if Matthew gets back Stratus Dancer, next turn we're looking at Jeff may not even be able to win the fight over Rally Ancestors.
Yep. So Hangerback Walkers die. They spit out some Thopters. See the life totals here, 13-6 in favor of Tickle. Feels like Matthew is winning the damage race right now. He's got a pretty good board. Jeff's got a lot of chump blockers, and he's going to be able to continue to make more because of the Thopter Spy network.
But just remember, Jeff can't maximize his mana. He has to leave up enough mana to be able to counter Rally Ancestors. Or he's taking a huge risk if he ever decides to put his shields down.
Yeah, tapping out for a card like Elspeth this turn, probably not a great idea.
Exactly. So it's hard for him to make a move. He's gotten pinned with his mana on a lot of turns, where Matthew is able to spend his mana pretty efficiently, and Jeff is left with 3 mana left over. Because he can't dissolve the cards that don't matter, but he has to always have access to dissolve.
There's Perilous Fault. Kind of a safety net. If Jeff gets on tap with all the mana.
You know, because Matt has Nantuko Husk, he's going to be able to put everything back in the graveyard.
Yep.
And again, the Perilous Fault's a lot of mana. And Jeff, even if he's able to survive this turn and next and Perilous Vault, he's still going to be in a spot where he has to leave up a lot of mana to prevent Matthew's follow-up. And in the meantime, Matthew can just go cast a creature, attack you, cast a creature, attack you. And Jeff's life total is not that high.
Also, Matthew gets the option here to play Den Protector face down, unmorph it, get back Kolaghan's Command, kill Perilous Vault. He can try that line of play if he'd like. No guarantee it's going to work, but it is a line that's available to him. He does have the necessary mana. May he be trying to go for a rally? And it's for 3. All right. It's going to get Disdainful Stroked. Time for beatdowns. Looks like there will be some blocking here. Bunch of chump blocking.
So if Jeff is chump blocking this way, it signals to me that he's planning on using Perilous Vault. And at that point, you know, Matthew goes to attack. Jeff goes in ahead and uses Perilous Vault.
Okay.
Then Matthew's the first one to seize the initiative. He gets to play whatever creatures are left over in his hand, and just at a very low life total. All right, if he's not alpha striking, maybe he's holding off another turn on the vault.
Do some more chump blocking.
Yeah.
Do some more chump blocking, able to control the game, and have a bunch of mana available.
The issue is that it's just not a long-term solution to the threat of Rally the Ancestors. And if Jeff has to pull the trigger on the Perilous Vault, it means that he's also losing his Thopters and his Thopter Spy network, and he has to rebuild as well.
There's some chump blocks. Always has to block Nantuko Husk. We know that, so you might as well just block the 2 biggest creatures. But if Matthew just continues to play like this, I mean, now Matthew can't do anything because Jeff is just going, well, I'm a little surprised he's going to play the Morph. Actually, I'm not surprised because now Jeff might blow Perilous Vault and he can return Kolaghan's Command and shock him.
Yep.
It's actually pretty good. It forces Jeff to have a very specific card.
Yeah, he needs to have another negate, basically.
Perilous Vault's activation on the stack. Gonna unmorph Den Protector. Gonna return Kolaghan's Command and try to kill you. Do you have negate? Okay. Clash of Wolves works.
Sure.
Sacrifice some stuff there, yep, to Nantuko Husk. Sacrifice Husk to itself. Want everything in the graveyard, nothing exiled.
So that exchange actually working great for Jeff.
Yeah.
As he got to use Clash of Wills here in a spot where it was not looking like it was going to be very good.
Tranquil Cove is going to bring Jeff up to 3. Pass it back. Tickal will draw. There's a Husk. That's going to be hit by a Dissolve. Follow-up is Gather the Pack. Good sequencing there. He can find 2 creatures now. Jeez, another counterspell. Jeff is full of those. And, oof. All right.
Pretty good turn there for Jeff.
I cannot disagree with you.
Matthew appears to be out of gas, got to counter everything, and now a dig through time to gas back up.
Feels like this is a hunt for a Dissolve, at least one, to protect himself against the top deck. Looks like he just found one. There is a Temple, top card bottom. What's next here for Jeff? Morph. Stratus Dancer?
Yeah, he's got 2 in the sideboard.
Tickal will draw. Pick through a copy of Thoughtseize, finally. In comes Stratus Dancer. Tickle gonna go down to 8. Jeff, another Morph. Another Stratus Dancer.
You got Dissolve for creatures, you got Stratus Answers for spells. He's in really good shape.
Here's Thoughtseize. I am so letting that resolve. I guess it depends on what Jeff's hand is, but maybe I'm just kind of greedy. I want to let that resolve because I want him to go to 6, and on more for strategy interest and kill him.
Sure.
That's going to get dissolved too. Pass turn back. Jeff will draw. And Jeff has rally covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeff has everything covered now, as he'll show his hand of Fated Retribution and dissolve. There is nothing that Matthew can draw here in this situation, as Jeff has navigated himself into a beautiful position. He'll win this match here over Matthew Tickal, 2-0. Blue White Control moves on to 10-1 now.
Very nicely done there by Jeff. I think he's got some really good things working out for him in this matchup. Not necessarily things that were on purpose, by which I mean I don't think his card selection we're trying to beat Rally Ancestors plus Nantuko Husk plus Bogus Marauder, but that's what's up.